Oh no, I've made a beautiful gift set of cards and I don't have a box. What do I do? Don't worry, I've got us covered. I'm going to show you how to make any size box customizable to your special gift. Along with my free PDF worksheet, you can create any box you need, which is some simple card making supplies. Let's get crafting. So here's an example of the box we're going to make today. It is a top lidded box, and they are two separate pieces that are fully customizable for your gift. Now the box we're going to make today is two pieces, a top and a bottom, and the top of mine leaves part of the bottom exposed so you can showcase your beautiful cardstocks. And if you want to use plain cardstock, you can certainly embellish. Now, if you haven't downloaded your free PDF worksheet, please make sure you do, and we're going to go through this example together. Now, I'm going to use a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, a regular standard 8.5 by 11 inch card, some scissors, some adhesive, and a bone folder. I'm also going to need a paper trimmer and a scoreboard. Looking at our worksheet, the first thing is determine the width of the box and add 1/4 inch. So let's take a peek at the card and just measure it to make sure, and it is 4 1/4 inches. So on my worksheet, my width is 4 1/4 inches plus 1/4 inch, and that equals 4.5 inches. Now I'm going to quickly measure the length of my card, which is 5.5 inches, plus I need to add 1/4 inch for wiggle room. So that is going to be 5 3/4 inches. The third step is to determine the height of the box's bottom. So take your stack or your entire gift, whatever you're measuring, and measure the height of that because you want to know how deep your box needs to be. In this case, I'm going to go with 2 inches. Now we need to figure out how big our piece of cardstock needs to be that we're going to cut from. So our width, going back to number 1, was 4.5 inches. Plus my side height of 2 inches, plus my side height of 2 inches again, will equal 8.5 inches for total width. Now look back at number 2 for our length. That was 5 3/4 inches. Plus our side height, which is 2 inches, plus the side height again of 2 inches, will equal 9 3/4 inches total length. Now looking at number 4, we're going to cut the bottom of our box and score at our determined height on all four sides. So we're going to bring out the paper trimmer, and I am going to be using my 12 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. Now this happens to be a pretty heavy piece of cardstock, but you could use a lighter weight cardstock, and I'll show you at the end how to firm that up. Now referring back to our worksheet, we need a total length of 9 3/4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that part first. Turn our cardstock, and we're going to cut the width at 8.5 inches. Okay, now it's time to bring in the scoreboard, and we're going to refer back to our worksheet. So we have cut the bottom of the box, and now we're going to score at our determined height on all four sides. Our determined height for this particular box was 2 inches. So we're going to go ahead and score at 2 inches. Turn it 1/4, score at 2 inches again. One more turn, 2 inches. And our final and fourth turn at 2 inches. Okay, hopefully I can capture the score lines on camera. I think they're pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and use our bone folder, and we're going to fold inward and score all four sides. Now I like to hold my cardstock where it's the vertical, the longer part is towards me, but I'm going to cut up each notch on the ends. So vertical there. Now I'm going to turn it all the way around and cut it vertical to the line. And the last one, vertical to the line. You're creating the tabs that are going to make the ends of your boxes here. Now I'm using Tim Holtz 9.5-inch titanium shears just because my other scissors are smaller than 2 inches and I wanted to make a singular cut. Now on each tab, I'm going to take a little off by creating a triangular notch on both sides of that tab. It'll make it much easier to fold the tabs in if you have those little notches. There's no rhyme or reason, just a small amount is fine. You don't need to measure anything here. Flip it around and do the exact same thing on both sides. Alrighty, we're going to kind of fold our tabs inward and the sides of our boxes in to create the bottom part of our box. So we need to put some adhesive. Now I'm using just a tape runner. You can use liquid glue, but you need something to clamp it to hold it. I just find that tape runner works the best. And then I'm just gonna put the two pieces together. Once again, put tape runner on what's going to be on the inside of your box, fold it inward, line up your sides so that your side is vertical, give it a good firm push. Continue with the other two tabs. Now I'm just going to use my bone folder or the end of your scissors, if that's what you have, to burnish those tabs together with the sides of the box. I just want to make sure I have a good sturdy side. And let's check it out to make sure the size is right. And it sure looks perfect to me. Let's work on the top now. Hey y'all, I'm Wendy from Village Card and Craft, and I want to thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me today. If you're finding value or enjoyment from my video, please consider giving me a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to have you be a part of the Village Card and Craft community. Bringing our worksheet back, we're going to work on the top of the box, and the first thing is to determine the height of the box lid. Now, if you want the box lid to go all the way down to the bottom of the box, then you would choose 2 inches in this case. But I want the lid to be shallower, so I'm going to choose, in this case, you see how the blue one is? That one's done at 1.5 inches, so that's what I'm going to go with here. Let's fill in that box, 1.5 inches. Okay, now this is really important. You need to add at least 1/8 of an inch to each of the dimensions in order for the lid to go over the bottom of the box. So I already have that in there. We're going to start with our width, which, going back to the front, our width was 4.5 inches. So we're going to fill that in. And our side height is now 1.5 inches, plus the side height again of 1.5 inches, plus 1/8 inch to get our total width. Now, I'm old school. The 1.5 and the 1.5 are 3 inches. So I'm going to kind of drop that down and do this old style mathematically. And I decided to use a pencil here because I didn't want to mess up. But 4.5 plus 3 is 7.5 plus 1/8. So if you're good enough to be able to do this in your head, that's fantastic. But I needed to change that half to 4/8 because 4/8 is a half. So 7 4/8 plus 1/8 is 7 5/8 for our total width. Moving on to our length. We're going to go back to the front of the paper, and our length was 5 3/4 inches, plus our side height of 1.5 inches, plus the side height again of 1.5 inches, plus 1/8. Okay, so we know the 1.5 and the 1.5 are 3, and I'm going to drop down my 5 3/4. So that is now 8 3/4 plus 1/8 inch. So once again, I need to change that so that I can work on those fractions, and I'm going to make that 8 6/8 plus 1/8. And that is going to be a total length of 8 7/8 inches. Okay, we have all the measurements we need to make the top or the lid of the box, and I'm going to use this heavyweight cardstock that's got a pattern on it. So you can certainly use a pattern paper. I wouldn't go with something that's super thin for the top. I would definitely err on the side of something heavier. And if you don't have something heavier and you want to go with white or black or a solid color, then you can certainly decorate or embellish that cardstock. So I have cut that at 8 7/8, and now I flipped it around, and we're going to do it at 7 5/8. All right, paper trimmer's gone, and now we bring in that scoreboard again. Now the lid is going to be at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides. Remember, that was our height, so that's where we need to score at. Now, a quick reminder, if you're using patterned cardstock here, you want to make sure that your patterned cardstock is facing down and you are folding your sides inward and burnishing the edges with a bone folder. According to the worksheet, we are now going to cut and notch our tabs. So I'm starting out with my 4 vertical tabs, and then I am going to cut my little notches. Now you may have noticed that I did switch scissors. Since this was a shorter height lid, I could use my shorter scissors. So these are Cutter Bee scissors. They're what I use to do any fussy cutting out for the most part, but they're really great scissors. So don't forget, you want to cut your notches out of all 4 tabs on both sides. There's no measuring here. You just got to cut a little triangle off each to make it easier to fold your tabs in and get them adhered to the sides of your lid. Okay, so I'm bringing my tape runner back in to glue my tabs to the sides of the lid. And I just want to point out that this project can be used for a number of things. You know how expensive dividers are for inside your drawers? Well, now you have a way to make your own dividers for inside your desk drawer, and you can make them as pretty as you want. You can also, and this is one of the things that I do, I have a shallow lid that I use to contain my dies when I'm cutting out die parts. So that way I don't lose them, because if I set them on my desk, they're sure to be gone. So it's a great way to make your own little dividers as well. Here I'm just burnishing in the sides to make sure that that lid is fully adhered, and it's a perfect fit. Earlier, I told you I would show you how to firm up your lid or your base, whichever. And all I'm doing is measuring the sides of my box. So in this case, it's 4.5 by 1.5. So I'm going to cut strips that are 4¼ by 1¼ I'm going to reduce each of the dimensions by 1/4 of an inch. I'm really just looking to give some added stability to the inside of the box lid. It's not going to fit precisely. I really don't want it to. But by using my double-sided tape, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the side, but I'm going to butt it up against the bottom of the lid. And then I'm going to burnish it down with my bone folder. And I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. And then that final piece is going to go in the lid. May as well make the whole thing look pretty for our recipient. But I'm going to speed this up so you can see how it finishes up. You could even make a coordinating tag for the top of your box, and you are done. Let's take a look at some other options. Add some ribbon, a gift tag, some bows, and you have a beautiful gift for friends or relatives. Another way to use these boxes is to keep them separated and use them for project boxes. I collect all the things that I'm going to use, put them in a lid. This is also how I keep track of my die cuts, as I mentioned earlier. And I also use them as dividers inside my desk drawer for things like washi tape, other types of adhesives, ribbons, embellishments. You name it, the sky's the limit. It's totally customizable. And if you'd like to see other organizational tips, check out this playlist right up here. Until next time, I'll see you real soon.